Bad News Brown. And I want to touch on this little topic I've been hearing lately. It's been coming up on the feed. Somebody actually gave me a call about it too. And it's inspired by a video. I've been seeing a lot of response videos. I guess a content creator, Dubs, which is a Mexican content creator. I guess he was responded to an interview of a brother, I guess, who did maybe 20 years in a federal prison. And I don't exactly know if, because I haven't seen the interview, so I don't know if the brother himself made this statement, but I guess the moral to his interview, for some reason, is the question: is are blacks scared of the Mexicans in prison? And at first, I wasn't even gonna touch this because it's pretty idiotic, But again, being that this is media, everybody watching, and I definitely need to put my perspective on it to give a lot of clarity. So let me break it down. Well, the answer to the question, the short answer is no. Hell no. Now, from my personal experience in prison, or things I heard that the blacks were scared of Mexicans in prison. Now, of course, there are going to be situations where their numbers are deeper, or probably on a certain yard, and they may have rushed, or vice versa. You understand? But that happens, that's prison life. That happens in all groups as far as when it comes to that. But as far as fear, being scared, or not wanting no smoke, nah, hell nah. So let me break it down a little bit more. See, this the thing about prison y'all gotta understand if you haven't went, or even if you have been. Prison is like, you can compare prison to the NBA, the NFL. It's pro of criminals. When you graduate, that's where you're in prison. It's the pro. So what that means is, no matter how bad you is or are, there's somebody just as bad and badder, and more than one. So regardless, whatever you, it's always gonna be somebody badder, and that applies to any person, regardless of race or group. That's just on an individual basis. So it ain't no one baddest man. With that being said, it ain't no one baddest group. Ain't no group afraid of no group. Now, again, like I said, in war, groups be strategic, and they may hit when they numbers is right, or for whatever reason, or they got the edge in some other type of way. But I don't see that having nothing to do with nobody scared of nobody, because that works vice versa. We didn't rush the Mexicans, and the Mexicans didn't rush us. So, like, there's plenty of stories on both sides. So I don't understand where that whole notion is coming from. Now, again, I didn't see the interview. So, and another thing, this brother did time in federal prison, like 20 years. So in the feds is different than state prison, and then in California state prison in particular. But even then, prison is prison. I just don't see that, because the thing, me growing up, when you hear about the feds or going to the feds, other than the better standard of living, you're gonna have to worry about the DC blacks. And I'm black, even though I'm from the West Coast. So every group, I'm sure, first thing they heard was about the DC blacks in the feds. And if you don't know the DC blacks, I'm talking about brothers from Washington, D.C., being that Washington, D.C. is not a state. It's a district, a federal district, obviously. So every crime they do, they go to the feds. So naturally, their numbers are going to be more. So traditionally, they've been one of the fiercest groups in the feds. And so I don't see them being afraid of Mexicans or any group. Again, like I said, ain't nobody afraid of nobody. And everybody is all convicts and criminals. Now, don't get me wrong, you're going to have punks, suckers, and this and that, and hustlers, and all different various types of people within that in all groups. But just like I said, just a general overall, we scared of Mexicans or Southside, no. Hell nah. You understand? Nah. Now, I think this notion comes from, and this is my opinion, probably because to date we're not as organized as we used to be. And I mentioned this before, as far as a lot of groups using our old playbook, and they putting a spin on it, of course. And being that we not as organized, one can argue that at times that may open us up to certain type of ambushes a lot of times, being that the program is a lot more lax now, being because in prison, even from my experience, unless again every yard is different, unless something is really going on, we're not under the gun like other groups. They gotta watch their back more as far as their threat level, the threat to them level, as far as how they feel. So they program, an example is, again, I can take a nap during the day, where certain groups can't, and it all depends what's going on. You may are with yard, you understand? So as far as blacks, because we in there so thick, and I mentioned this before, as far as the whole institutionalism, because of the accommodating feeling that they try to make you feel like you belong there. So this is weird, and it's funny about me even saying this, but yeah, man, our program is just a little more lax because we in there, we deep. Then we all know if anything jump off with another group, we all in it anyway. But at the same time, that's something perhaps we need to look at. You understand, coming together and becoming organized. But again, blacks in there, it's a certain type of freedom, not only just from, of course, the other convicts, but I'm just saying even from the administration. Again, I can't really put my finger on it, but I just got that accommodating feeling. So a lot of brothers don't like listening to other brothers or whatever. And again, this whole goes back to the ain't nobody better than nobody. Ain't no group better than no other group. Ain't no person better than no other person. Don't get me wrong, you're gonna have top dogs. But what I'm just meaning, mano. Like I said, it's just like the NBA. You understand it? For every person in the NBA, it's like 1,000 cats, good as him, if not better, that didn't even make it. So it's a lot of it's a lot of convicts, a lot of badasses, it's a lot of bullies, it's a lot of, you understand, hitters, whatever you want to call it. It's a lot from all races, all groups. So to answer that question, hell nah. Blacks ain't scared of the Mexicans. Mexicans ain't scared of the blacks. Whites ain't scared of the Mexicans. Mexicans ain't scared of the whites. You know what I'm saying? The others ain't scared of, you get what I'm saying. Now, again, every situation is different. There are going to be times where a group may have the numbers and they push up on another group or try to impose their will, or they just push up on another group. And of course, the group being outnumbered, they don't come out on a winning end. But as far as somebody just being scared, hell no. And then again, every yard is different, but that still doesn't matter. So, yeah, man, I hope I answered that question for y'all and shed a little bit more light on that situation. I just think it come from blacks not being as organized. So a lot of times you hear stories from content creators, rather, regarding the Mexicans and the blacks. It's usually what we call an ambush attack. So again, and one can argue, well, why y'all wasn't ready? And that got something to do with organization. But again, every situation is different. I wasn't there, and plus, again, this guy was in a federal prison, so it is a lot different. The politics are different. But even then, you understand, now every situation is different now. So for his tenure, he probably coming out feeling like that because he probably been in multiple situations when he may have thought the brothers should have moved and they didn't for whatever reason. I wasn't there. But nah, you know what I'm saying? The answer is no. So man, this bad news Brown breaking this shit down for y'all, man. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm gonna be back at y'all with some more material. Peace.